What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Young Legends podcast, where we help you get the cheat codes to the game of life. I'm your host, Caption, aka Caption Red, and we have an amazing guest today, Miss Lucine Fyelon. Lucine is a recording artist, hip-hop classical violinist, producer, and singer-songwriter. By combining her classical upbringing and hip-hop, R&B, and EDM music, she has created wildly popular music, including a song that got 21 million views online. She has toured with Cirque Du Soleil, has opened for major artists including Jermaine Dupri and Jamie Foxx, and has also recorded for and played alongside artists such as Madonna, Shawn Mendes, will.i.am, Miley Cyrus, Lauryn Hill, the Foo Fighters, and many more. She has performed on the biggest stages in the world, including the Grammy Awards, The Ellen Show, The Tonight Show, MTV Unplugged, and Coachella. Lucine went to Tchaikovsky School of Music in Yerevan, Armenia, where she majored in violin performance. She also earned a bachelor's degree in violin performance from Cal State Northridge and a master's degree in voice opera performance and violin performance from UCLA. Lucine!
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome, thank you. I mean, not really, but trying to be good.
Trying your best.
Days.
Yes. That's all of us.
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing really well. And I'm super excited about this interview. And I just got done earlier this morning watching you win at the Apollo. Which,
you did?
I watched the whole thing.
Cool.
And your response at the end and everything. Tell me about that. Yeah, tell me about that whole experience and what it felt like to win.
Yeah, well, at first I didn't really think about the winning situation. I was like, okay, let me just go and see what's going to happen. And I almost said no to this because it was such a last minute thing when they called me, the producers. So my final thought was like, okay, I'm just not going to do it because they probably don't know if the song is going to be cleared or not. But at the end, she's like, no, we're fine. Just come and do the show. So I just went without expecting literally like nothing. I just went there and I realized, oh my God, this is like a real television show. And yeah, it was great. I just played it and I met so many people. Steve Harvey was really cool and he did pronounce my name right. I think he like studied it for like a long time probably. So yeah, he was being very careful. Yeah. It was good. It was honestly really good experience. I was not expecting to win or for anything. I just wanted to go and, do my best. And my best was good enough. Let's say.
Yes. No. Your best was amazing. I mean, I've had the opportunity to, just watch you through all your videos, obviously, but I also got to see you perform live. And I guess one of the highlights of my career now is that I got to share a stage with you a couple years back.
Oh my God, I know.
That was great.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And you are awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So people have not heard of you, but they probably heard you play before. You've been on everything, Ellen Show, every single show that I listed in the bio. You played with everybody, Madonna, will.i.am, Jamie Foxx, all these stars. And it's so impressive what you've done and the, music that you make and everything. But tell me about your origin story of starting as a violin player and what that journey has been like up until this point.
Yeah, well, my parents are musicians, actually. My mom plays piano and my dad's a violinist, classical. And it was my mom's dream that I would become a violinist. So when I was 5, I started training with my dad. He was my first teacher. And it's, yeah, that's how they were actually. My mom wanted me to become a violinist. It was her decision, and my dad supported it. And, I just kept playing, hours and hours of practice time. I got my bachelor's degree in violin also. Like, I studied as a classical violinist for years.
Hmm.
And then it kind of switched a little bit. Well, at the same time, I used to also sing, but singing was more pop R&B style of music. So I kind of combined everything together and kind of came out with my own style of, you know, doing things. I don't want to say music, but yeah, that's basically it. I just did music because of my parents.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, from everything that I've gathered from your interviews and other places that you've conversed, you really seem to love playing violin and creating music. Is that about
Yeah.
right?
Yes, I love it. It's it's playing is really really fun. It's amazing, but creating is totally it's like something else. And I love doing it. It's like you're free and you can do anything that you want. And that's the part that I really love about doing original music. And people have been responding really well, which is it's really it feels great for me to know that. So when I see, comments and all the beautiful messages that I get, it makes me want to create even more. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. And as you were developing yourself as an artist, you said that you're classically trained. You have a bachelor's and a master's degree
Yeah.
in music. So, how important was the formalized training that you got, not just growing up, but also in your undergrad and graduate programs?
It's super, super important. To me, I think quality is very, very important in anything that we do. And this is why I, used all that knowledge to whatever I'm doing right now. And I like it personally. I like being able to mix everything together, to not just be good at one thing, to try to mix everything together and see what can happen. And it's classical music is like a foundation. You have to me, some people might not agree, but I think if you really want to be good, you have to know the basics. And the basics are classical music.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just love what you've done with it and put the twists and the drums and everything. It's just
Oh,
I was
yeah.
jam I was jamming out all morning to your music on Spotify, and
Oh,
I was just like,
so
yeah,
cool. I
yeah, that
love
was,
that.
yeah, it was great.
And
So
producing.
yeah,
Producing is like totally something else. So I also produce all my music because I love, putting drums together and all the chords and everything. It's like a whole process. It does take time, but it's so fun. Like when you get everything together.
yeah, absolutely. And when you say it does take time, what kind of time are we talking about? Because I think a lot of people who don't make music don't really understand what all goes into it.
Right. Well, producing, let's say there is recording, there is creating the melody part, there is
Mhm.
just so much stuff that goes into creating music. It takes, for very accomplished artists who don't really do everything themselves, it does take less time. But for somebody like me who wants to be part of everything that I create, like I'm very picky, let's just say that.
Sure.
And, it does take time, like maybe a month or more, depending how much time I have. So, yeah.
A month like for an album, or what are we
No,
talking
no,
about here?
no. We're talking about maybe like, let's say 2 weeks for a song or more. Maybe a month for a song. Actually, a
Okay.
month. I'm not going to say because I know I take more time. I take my time, and I always want to make sure that whatever I do that I personally like. So I would say 1 month a song.
And how many hours a day is that you're like working on that song?
Well, if it's in 1 month, then it probably doesn't mean like I work many hours a day, maybe like few hours a day. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I just go with the flow and see what happens. Sometimes it can be less than a month.
Right.
I've done a song like in one day actually.
Sure.
Where I was like so inspired one night, and when I started writing, and I finished the song in just that day. So that happens too. It depends how creative you feel at the moment. But to me, I think it does take time for me personally, because I'm a little bit picky.
No, absolutely. And like you said, you want to put out quality and
Right.
make sure that what you're delivering to the fans is your absolute best.
Right.
Speaking of which, when you were growing up and you were becoming classically trained, what was your practice schedule like, and like how was the regiment that you followed?
The school that I went to was very, very challenging school. They were training soloists only. Like, that was the school. I had only 20 people in my class, I think. That was it. And everybody was doing music just like me. So in order to continue going to the next class or next level, you had to do tests. You had to practice every day for hours. So it was very tough. But, at the end, you feel good for doing that. And my parents, also pushed me to practice every day. I would say maybe 2-3 hours a day. So it was very important. Practice time was everything. Like, you couldn't go play outside if you didn't practice. It was very strict.
Got it. And they didn't feed you too, right? Is that true or no? I'm just kidding.
No, not that. I don't know about that. I'll ask them.
Right. You were too young to remember. No, I'm just kidding. Very cool. So you're classically trained. So basically you've been in music for a very long time. They say it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. And you've been in it for much longer than that. That's awesome. Yeah. So, yeah. I like that story just because it shows people like, look, nothing happens overnight,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
That would be nice, but no.
Yeah.
But it's also it's like a language. You learn it, and then you become in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I shouldn't say language, but yeah, it's something that you learn, and then it becomes part of you, and then you just want to do it all the time, which is the nice part.
Yeah, absolutely. So just find something you enjoy doing, and then just kind of pour your heart into it. And
yeah.
That's awesome. So when it comes to being a musician, what is a key life lesson that you learned that helped you in your journey? Like something that was maybe a lesson of the utmost importance, which, just really helped you as a musician and as a person in general.
As a person, for me, I guess personally, I think I learned to just go with the flow and not overthink anything, because I used to do that more. So I just learned that, life is beautiful with its good and bad lessons. So just go with the flow, basically.
Sure.
That's not overthink anything, because it can hurt you. It can be good, but it's also, unnecessary.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like that's something that you kind of struggle with more when you were younger.
To like overthinking?
Yes.
I think we kind of all do.
Mm-hmm.
We think too much. We're like, oh, I don't know. It's not good.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it shows you that you're a deep person. I think it's good in that way, but it's good to kind of stop when it's becoming too much, if you know how to. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I had a problem with back in the day was I was a worrier, worrying. And I still struggle with it to some degree today, but it's funny, all the things that we worry about, 98% of them
Oh,
don't happen.
you mean warrior? Okay, got it.
Worrier. No, not a war. Well, I would like to think I was a warrior too.
And I was like,
That
wait,
too. I had
what
those
is that?
moments as well. Yeah. Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
want to be a
sure.
warrior. No, that's terrible.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you mean. I know exactly.
Yeah. So I heard in one of your videos when you were talking and just sharing about yourself that you didn't want to do anything like the life you're living right now. You just want to live it so that you don't regret anything that you're doing. And I
Right.
think that's really important. But as you look back at life growing up, is there anything that you would do differently, knowing what you know now?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so.
Hmm. All
I don't
right.
know, because I don't know. I feel like everything happens for a reason. And sometimes when I want to be in control, the end result kind of shows me that I am not. Like, whatever you do, all I want to make sure is that I do the best I can and not think about the end result. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And if I don't think about it, it's better. And I don't know, it's been happening. Everything is happening, and I look back, I'm like, oh, this is why that happened. Everything makes sense. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
just trust everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And particularly the one thing we do control is our effort, but we don't
Yes.
control the
Yes.
results. And
Mhm.
so yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Um that's awesome. Now as a musician, right? I imagine that do you still keep in touch with any of the musicians that you kind of grew up with and were in, I guess, primary school and middle high school, all that stuff?
I actually, yeah, I do. Some of them. I do.
Yeah.
I
So,
was born in Armenia. We went back in 2018, and I saw some of my classmates. It was, yeah, pretty interesting to see where everybody's going.
sure, absolutely. And some people have like left music and some people are still in it and
Exactly. Yeah.
right. So, knowing what you know about your own personal success and knowing what you know about the success of or lack of success of people that you've kind of seen as musicians, what do you think makes a musician successful? And success is that's maybe the wrong word because some people are
Hmm.
brilliant and they don't have commercial success. But
Right.
the ones that I guess live up to their potential, what is the difference between a musician that makes a great career for themselves, and again, not necessarily commercially successful, but
Right.
they live up to their potential is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And what makes a musician become a great musician, and what are some of the things that you've seen of people who don't end up living up to their potential?
I think it's a choice. I think whatever choice the musician makes, that's what they do. If they don't feel like they really have to go after it, and they don't, and then nothing really happens. But
Mm,
if you really want it, it doesn't matter how good you are or bad, like you get there.
mm, it's
I
good.
think you just have to really, if you really want it, you have to really work hard at it. And it's not easy. It's really hard because it makes you might have to change yourself a little bit to adjust to be able to work harder.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a choice that every musician has to make. What kind of a success do they want? What is success to them? And at the end, I think it's more about being happy
Hmm.
to me than successful. Success, if success makes you happy, you should do it. But if it doesn't make you happy, I don't think you should do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, there's probably some musicians that are talented, but it's just not necessarily for them, is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. Maybe they just don't feel good about being in the public. It does happen, actually. I know great musicians who they're like, hey, I don't want attention. I just want to play. I want to feel good.
Sure.
And there are different types of musicians out there. Being famous doesn't mean it's the only way to be successful. There are, other ways too, just like you said. But yeah, you just have to know yourself to know what you really want. Sure. And not try to follow somebody just because you see that they're doing good. You need to, I think, know what makes you personally happy with whatever you choose to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard that from people who are in music. They say, don't do it unless you can't not do it, because it's not easy. It's a long road, and you're on the road a lot, which is great in some ways, but also I imagine it becomes a grind eventually. So
yeah, it does. It's just not just the roads. Like, even if you're a musician that creates new music, let's say, you're always being judged all the time. You never know the type of music that you write. You don't know if people are going to like it or not. So it's always like you wonder.
Sure.
Yeah. It's emotionally, some people can't take it because it's hard. It's like, oh my God, what do you do? But then if you really love what you're doing, you love creating and you like it yourself, you personally like your own music, then you should always do it. You should never stop just because, you will find an audience for every type of music, I think.
Sure, absolutely. And with there's a lot of praise that comes with being a performer. There is, some criticism, and, that at least that insecurity of people not liking what you're doing and whatnot. And so how do you handle and process that? Because I know that when I've put stuff out and I'm just like, you understand this, like this turmoil is the best word I can use for it. And it's like, and then but it's out there.
Exactly. You don't know what to expect. You're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? You can't do anything about that. You just can't. You just have to accept the way things are. I think what you can do is make sure that you like it personally, sure. That you did everything that you wanted to do. And just don't take it too seriously, I would say.
Yeah. And
it's not life or death. You can write another one.
That is true. And it's funny, I listen to Conan O'Brien's podcast a lot, and when he first came out, people hated him.
Really?
Oh, they took him straight to the sewer with all their criticism. It was terrible, and it was just one of those things that he just kind of had to fight through that and continue to make art, and now people love him. But anyhow,
exactly. If you believe in the art, you should go for it. Just make it.
Yeah, that's great. Going back to something you said earlier, you said sometimes you have to change yourself. Now, what is one thing that you had to change in order to become successful? Because it perked my ears up when you said it. I was like, oh, there's something that she had to do in order to take it to next level and, become the phenom that she is today.
I would say time management. I had to really think about what I really wanted and focus on that. Like the example is when I wrote my first album, I was touring at the same time with Cirque du Soleil. So there was not much time to work on it. So what I did, after every show, I would just go to my room and produce music instead of going out and having a drink or have time with my colleagues, which I mean I did during the show, but after that I really wanted to go and finish my album. That was very, very important to me. So every night after every show, that's the only thing that I would do.
That's great. So what time did these shows get done? And then what time did you work until? Because Cirque du Soleil does not happen at 6 p.m. Am I correct?
Exactly. I think it started at 7. I think the show, or 7 or 8.
Right.
I'm not sure.
And then it goes for how long?
Like 2 hours or 3 sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Was it 2? Oh my God, I forgot. Yeah, I think it was 2 hours, and then you go back to your room. But because mostly after the shows, I think a lot of the performers, they wanted to, just go and eat something or drink something, because it's a normal situation. You just want to relax after the show. You don't think about working after the show.
Sure.
So, but for me, like, I had to make these changes because I really wanted it, Just time management. Like, you need to know what you want, I think, and just create a plan for yourself that will work, hopefully will work.
Right. So it sounds like you didn't get back to your hotel room probably until like 11 something, and then you were making music way into the early morning hours, it sounds.
No, I did sleep. I'm not going to lie. But I did sleep kind of late.
Sure.
Yeah, late. And then my call time, because we had only 3 musicians at that time, our call time was later than all the other performers. So I would sleep until like 1 or 2, it was a very different type of schedule.
Sure.
And then, I would go do my hair and makeup and everything.
So it sounds like you basically woke up, got yourself kind of ready to go to work, went to work, got off of work, worked on your album, went to sleep, and just kind of kept doing that cycle to some degree, right?
Yeah, exactly. But in the mornings when I would wake up, I would also work on the album. So it was,
oh, wow.
Anytime I had time, that was the main thing that I was doing. And I liked it. Sure. It's not like, oh my God, I have to. I really just wanted to do it.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, that's great. I like that story though. How long did it take you to write the album while you were on tour?
Okay, let me see. I was there for 6 months or more, and then 3 more months I was writing also. I was in Orlando also before that, also producing music. Then I came back to LA. I was out for like a year, I think. And then I came back to LA and I recorded everything that I wrote. That took me about 2 months, I think. I don't know, maybe like a little more than a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you spoil yourself with a trip or something afterwards? Because that's a grind right there.
No, I don't remember what I did. I was just happy to be done.
It's all a blur. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So beyond time management, is there anything else that really has helped you to just live up to your potential, end up going on tour, end up recording with these high-level A-list artists, and do all the cool things that you've done?
Practice. When you're younger, I think take it seriously. I see a lot of people taking the violin as a entertainment type of an instrument. And it's really not. It's hard. You have to really practice a lot.
Sure.
I don't know how else to say it, but to become good at it. I don't think we should limit, because it's the hardest instrument to learn, and there's so many things that you can do with it. Just keep learning.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, just when other kids are out having all the fun, you have to not have as much fun, it sounds like.
Yeah, not as much. You can still have fun. I think you can
Sure.
still have fun, but it's important to want to be good. But some people, they do it for fun. I understand that too. That's cool. Whatever works.
Sure. No, I
Just
mean,
do whatever you can.
No, and it sounds like, I mean, you were thinking about the future, it sounds like, when you were younger.
I wasn't really thinking. I think I had to do it, so I did it. Because it was a little different times. For me, the school that I went to, you had tests, like I said. If
Sure.
you weren't good enough, you wouldn't pass. So it was very strict type of a environment in that school, which then you see, years later, you see the results. And then the other schools also, when you go, I'm not saying school is everything, because sometimes school can make you overthink things. That also happens, if then you become too much of a perfectionist, which is not good also.
Sure.
But you just kind of have to know your limits, know what you really want.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like you wanted to be good, or you wanted to be great anyway. So.
Yeah, I wanted to, and I like challenges. So I was like, okay, let's do this. It's fun.
Yeah.
I found the fun in it. If you can find fun in whatever you do, I think then you found whatever you wanted to.
Sure, absolutely. No, that's really important. Speaking of fun, what are you doing to stay sane and productive during this self-isolation times? Because oh man, I'm trying everything under the book, and some things are working okay, and some things.
Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm learning French. I know.
That's great.
French is like the hardest language for me. That's why I was like, okay, let me just do French, because it's the hardest one. Let's see what is it that makes it so hard. So yeah, I'm doing French. I'm doing actually Bible study with my brother.
Cool.
Which is kind of cool. Cooking with my mom. And obviously, I'm always in the studio, just finishing up a new song. So yeah, what else? What else can you do? Oh yeah, a little bit of workout. A little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not doing too much. I wish I have to start working out.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you don't have to, but it's good for you mentally, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, but also I gained 5 pounds, so it's not good for me. I have to start. It's too much lazy time. You don't know what to do.
Sure, absolutely.
I think that's it.
No, that's good. I mean, those are all good things, and and then you're gonna have 4 languages under your belt at that point.
Yes,
that's
or
great.
more. We'll see.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, depending on how long it goes, you might pick up some.
Let's hope it's not too long.
Let's hope. Absolutely. All right. Well, this has been a really good conversation. Are there any final thoughts that you want to share with the people from Lucine's heart to the world?
Final thoughts. I hope everybody's safe, everybody's healthy, and good luck to all of us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
It'll be great. It'll be great.
Eventually it will. All right. Well, so one of the things that I like to do at the end of my performance, what am I talking about? At the end of my podcast interview, which is what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Is I like to do a little rap at the end, and I was wondering, are you okay with me using your instrumental to do so?
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool. All right, so let me just get in here, spit some bars about this little conversation we had. All right, here we go. All right. I'm chilling on the scene, chill with Lucine. That is the queen with the violin. Yo, she just sends a whole bunch of love and also good luck to all the people now. Don't keep her down. That's what I say. She just comes and plays, has to freaking practice all the freaking time. Practice on the mind so you could become great. Yo, create good old things all the freaking time. Gotta find the passion. That's what I'm asking you. What's yours? I basically say you gotta freaking pour all your things up inside it. And that's what I say. She is just arriving at the hotel just to put in work. And that's what she say. She has to freaking search for that next beat, that next instrumental. And that's what I say. She picks up the pencil, classically trained, really off the chain. That's how she does it. Yo, she just reigns all the freaking time, kind of like LA. And that's what I say every single day. You got to go after your dreams up on the scene. You got to put it out there and not even care. Just do your best. That's what I confess. And that's what I say with these mics that I bless. Spit off the top. And that's how I go. And that's what I said with a Lucine flow.
Woo! Oh my God.
There it is.
That was so cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So you just like create stuff on the spot like that?
Yeah, it's a lot of practice. I also, I practice freestyling all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks. And I also, I paying attention really helps when you're having a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And so when you're fully present and really listening, it's amazing what you'll retain.
Oh my God, I could never be a rapper. That's crazy. I don't know how you guys do it. Just like stuff comes to your mind.
I couldn't do violin, so we all have a place, and
yep.
your job is secure from me. I'll let you know that right now.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, Lucine. So thank you so much for the conversation and the just the insights and the wisdom and just your positive energy, and you're just being just a humble person, even though you're just so amazing at violin and just being a kind person in general. So how can people connect with you online? Where are the places that they can find you, and what are the handles that they should look up?
Yeah, just like everybody else, I'm on social media, on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Those are the main platforms that I'm on. So if they search for my name, Lucine Fyelon, Lucine Fyelon, we can connect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go ahead and make sure to tag all your information in the show notes so they can just click on it and go and see you. So,
awesome.
Lucine, it has been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No, I'm so thankful for this. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that interview. And if you've been listening and enjoying this podcast, I'm going to ask that you do me a favor to help the show. Please go in and rate and review the podcast in Apple Podcasts. When you rate and review the podcast, it helps people find the podcast, but it also helps because it attracts future quality guests. So please do that for me. Please take care of yourselves out there. Stay healthy and well. And until next time, peace out.